Hello, Falcons. This is Mr. Dowd, and I want to talk to you about this assignment, your vocab assignment. And the first one we have is right here in the Google Classroom. It says Geography Vocab. And when you open that, you're going to see, oops, I did it again. I go to classwork, and then I open the Geography Vocab. And what you're going to see is a graphic organizer. And for most of our vocab this year, it will be using this graphic organizer. And like it says in the lesson description here, it is a CCD chart, which stands for Cognitive Content Dictionary Chart. And it's really just a graphic organizer. And it's the one that I like for vocabulary. And it looks like this. And when you see it, your terms will be on the left, and then you have across the top column headers that tell you what you're supposed to do. So the vocabulary term, like I said, listed on the left, and then the next thing you do is you make a prediction. Now, when we're doing this all together in class, I'm going to set a timer. Usually I give 2 minutes, just 2 minutes, literally 120 seconds to make a prediction. And again, a prediction is an educated guess about what that word might mean. So in the case of the word continent, what do you think it means? Don't look it up. Don't Google it. Just write down a quick blurb. It doesn't even have to be a complete sentence. A continent is a red-headed penguin that lives in Argentina, or whatever it is you think a continent is. And then do that for each of the terms, again, really quick. And then what I'm going to do is have a random way of calling on people to read out their predictions. And the purpose of this is just to get you thinking about the term. Then what I'm going to do where it says description is I'm going to show the class teacher definitions of each of these terms. And you're going to type those in right here. Now the final two columns are for images and for sentences. And what you have to do is find a relative image and paste it in this box here. And then you have to take, you have to take the term and you have to make a sentence with it. And that sentence has to follow 3 rules. Number 1, it has to be a complete sentence. Number 2, it must use the term. Using the plural form is okay. If the term is a verb, using the past tense is okay. And then it has to make sense in a social studies context. So in the term of continent, that sentence must actually say something about a continent. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the terms, coming up with a sentence may be tough. And so my hint is always, if you combine the term and at least part of its description, you'll have to change a few words, but you will have a sentence that will meet the criteria. So when we do these for the gradebook, what I'm looking for first is a complete graphic organizer. That means you've done all the parts of it. And I'm also looking for that the image makes some kind of sense and that the sentence makes sense as well. Now, I'm going to take a little more time and talk specifically about this image. You know by now, I'm assuming, that you can find images in a Google image search. So if I open a tab and I click on images, I can now search for images. And if I want to search that term, continent, and then search, I'm going to get a bunch of images. Now, here's the problem. How do I know that I have permission to use anything that's on Google? And if you're wondering, well, why do I care? What would I ask? And normally, if we're going to print something out and paste it on a poster that goes on the classroom wall, or if we're going to copy a picture and paste it into a document that we're typing to hand into our teacher, then it really doesn't matter as much if you have permission because of something called the fair use doctrine. Fair use is a law that says if it's used for educational purposes, then you can make reasonable copies of that image to get classwork done. It does not, however, give you permission to copy it for any purpose whatsoever. So for instance, if I have a textbook and I want to copy a chapter because it goes with the assignment that we did in class, and I can make a copy for students who are absent so they can do it at home. That falls under the fair use doctrine. What I can't do is make one copy and then use the school's photocopier to make a set to give to every one of my students. That would not be covered under fair use doctrine. The people who wrote and published and printed the textbook, they expect to make some money off of it. And the copyright laws protect them and allow them to get paid for the work they do. So we don't have the right just to grab things and use them. And where the fair use doctrine ends is the school walls. And when we start doing things digitally, well, then we've left the school walls. When we submit our final products, they are put into my Google Classroom, and to be honest, it's fairly well protected. But it is technically on the internet, and so I think it's a good time for students to learn about copyright. Now, if you're going to do a Google search and you want to make sure that your images are free of copyright restrictions, you need to go to the Settings menu and go to Advanced Search. And when it opens up, your search term will be there. And then if you go all the way to the bottom of the list where it says Usage Rights, here are the words "not filtered by a license." And that's Google's way of saying, I don't know. I don't know who has permission and who doesn't. We didn't really check. We just found every image and threw it out there. So not filtered by license is not copyright safe. What you need to do is click this menu box and go to the bottom where it says free to use, share, or modify, even commercially. If you make that choice and then click Advanced Search, you're going to get the images where the creator of that image has said, go ahead and do whatever you want with it. Now, if we're making this part of a research-based project, we always want to give that artist credit in our bibliography. But for a vocab assignment, if you're doing the advanced search and if you're filtering for images that you are free to use or change or use however you want, then I'm going to call that good. So when we are putting images in our schoolwork, we want them to be free of copyright restrictions, especially when we're doing it electronically, when we're doing things in a Google Classroom or anywhere else that's online. Now, what I've just told you is the bare minimum about copyright. I am not a lawyer. I'm not an expert on copyright law, but this is just the beginnings of awareness that you need to be careful of it. Now, here's the good news. If you go back to your Google document, way at the bottom, and it's out of this video screen, the bottom right of Google is a little star in a box, and it is the Explorer icon. Click it, and a bar opens up on the side here. And here's where you can search your term. And I put in continent, and I hit the Enter key, and it opens up. And then I can click Images, and here are all the images. Now, here's the thing about using the Explore bar at school. When you do this at school, the district filters the images for you. It's that choice of free to use or share even commercially is already made by the Mount Vernon School District when you use the Explore bar on the right of your document. And if you find an image that you like, you simply click it and drag it right over, and it will populate that box in your graphic organizer. So there we are. How do we use this graphic organizer has been explained, and how to safely get images that are free of copyright restrictions into your schoolwork has been explained. Good luck. Have a great day.